Certainly. Here's the text in paragraphs. Islak the Magnificent, once glorious God-Emperor of the Pruan Empire, stand before this council today. How the mighty have fallen! You asked me to recount the events that led to this moment, to explain how our vast empire crumbled before a species we once considered insignificant. Very well, let my tale serve as a warning to all who would underestimate the fury of those strange beings called humans. It began, as many ill-fated campaigns do, with arrogance. Our empire had stood for millennia, conquering and subjugating hundreds of worlds. The Terrans were to be our next acquisition, a species of little consequence possessing a few resource worlds on the fringes of our space. I remember the day I gave the order to invade. My war council was assembled in the Dome of Celestial Conquest, a vast chamber that had witnessed the planning of 1,000 victorious battles. General VCK, our most decorated military mind, presented the battle plans with utmost confidence. My emperor, he said, his scale-crusted tentacles gesticulating at the holographic display of Trey space, their defenses are pitiful. Our quantum fold drives will allow us to bypass their early warning systems entirely. We estimate total subjugation within 2 lunar cycles. It was then that High Inquisitor Quor, always the voice of caution, raised a concern. What of the humans, my emperor? Intelligence suggests they have some sort of alliance with the Terrans. Laughter rippled through the chamber. I myself couldn't help but emit an amused chirp from my spikes. The humans? Those primates barely out of their gravity well? Their greatest achievement was a primitive fusion drive that let them putter around their own solar system. Let them come, I declared, rising to my full height, my iridescent wings spreading in a display of dominance. If these humans are foolish enough to interfere, we shall swat them aside like the insects they are. Our photon lances will tear their tin cans apart before they even enter weapons range. Oh, how wrong I was. How catastrophically, unforgivably wrong. The invasion began exactly as planned. Our war fleets materialized in Trey space, bypassing their paltry defenses. World after world fell before us. The Terrans, to their credit, fought bravely, but they were no match for our technological superiority. As the second week of our campaign dawned, reports began to trickle in of human ships entering the sector. I paid them little mind. Let them come, I thought. Let them witness the futility of resistance against the Pruan Empire. I remember the exact moment when I realized my mistake. I was standing in my command center aboard the dreadnought * Imperial Destiny * when the first reports of combat with human forces came in. I expected news of easy victory. Instead, the commander's voice was filled with panic. My emperor, the humans, they're everywhere. Our quantum sensors can't lock onto them. They're using some kind of primitive projectile weapons, but they're tearing through our shields like they weren't even there. I didn't understand. It wasn't possible. How could a species that hadn't even mastered gravity manipulation pose a threat to us? But the reports kept coming, human ships appearing out of nowhere, striking with impossible precision, and vanishing again. Ground forces that fought with a ferocity we'd never encountered, employing tactics that made no sense to our battle computers but were devastatingly effective. As I stand here before you today, stripped of my titles and my empire in ruins, I understand the magnitude of my error. We looked at humanity's technology and saw primitives. We should have looked at their history, a species forged in constant conflict that had clawed its way up from the mud of its world to the stars through sheer determination and adaptability. We thought ourselves gods among the stars. The humans taught us that we were nothing but arrogant children playing at war. And now the galaxy trembles not at the mention of the Pruan Empire but at the name of terror. Let my humiliation be a lesson to you all. Humanity doesn't care about your advanced technology. They don't care about the supposed superiority of your species. When roused to war, they care about only one thing: victory at any cost. And the cost, as my people learned, is terribly high. You ask how the humans responded to our invasion of their allies. Let me paint you a picture of an awakening giant, a slumbering beast roused to terrible fury. Our first inkling that we had gravely miscalculated came mere days after the invasion began, a transmission broadcasted on all frequencies in perfect Pruan. this is Admiral Helena Tibwer of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked our friends and allies, the Trey. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. I remember laughing when I heard it, the audacity. A single human daring to threaten the might of the Pruan Empire? I dismissed it as empty bravado. How wrong I was. Within hours, reports flooded in from our frontier worlds, human ships appearing from nowhere, striking with pinpoint precision. They targeted our supply lines, our communication relays, our sensor arrays, not the actions of a technologically inferior species, but the calculated strikes of a race intimately familiar with warfare. But it wasn't just their space tactics that caught us off guard. On the ground, human soldiers fought with a ferocity that left our troops shell-shocked. They employed weapons we had dismissed as primitive, chemically propelled projectiles, directed energy weapons that seemed laughably underpowered compared to our photon lances. Yet these primitive weapons tore through our advanced armor like it was tissue paper. Our energy shields, impenetrable to most known weapons, flickered and died under barrages of simple kinetic rounds. I demanded explanations from our scientists. How could this be possible? Their answers chilled me to my core. My Emperor, one trembling researcher explained, the humans, they've weaponized principles so basic, so fundamental, that our defenses were never designed to stop them. Their projectile weapons accelerate small pieces of metal to velocities our shields can't register as threats. Their energy weapons operate on frequencies our systems don't even detect. It was as if we had spent millennia perfecting defenses against a planetary siege only to be undone by a simple knife to the back. But it wasn't just their weapons that terrified us, it was their adaptability, their ruthless efficiency. We intercepted their communications, expecting to find panic, disorder. Instead, we found a species mobilizing for total war with a speed and unity that defied comprehension. Their entire economy pivoted to war production overnight. Civilian ships were retrofitted into military vessels faster than we could track them. Every human, it seemed, from bureaucrats to farmers, had basic military training. They formed militias, guerrilla units that wreaked havoc behind our lines. And their information warfare, by the cosmic egg, their information warfare. They hacked our systems with ease, turning our own automated defenses against us. They spread misinformation that had our commanders jumping at shadows. I remember the day I realized we were not fighting a war but struggling to survive an extinction event of our own making. A report came in of a human counter-invasion of one of our core worlds. The footage showed human soldiers standing amid the ruins of our greatest cities, their primitive projectile weapons still smoking. One human, his face covered in the soot of battle, looked directly at the camera. His words haunt me still, "You came to our allies' homes thinking you were gods among mortals. We've come to show you that you're just bullies who picked on the wrong kid's friend. Humanity's here now, run." As I recount this to the esteemed council, I want you to understand, we did not lose to superior technology. We did not lose to greater numbers. We lost to an indomitable will, a species that looked at the impossible and simply refused to accept it. We thought ourselves the apex predators of the galaxy. Humanity showed us we were simply the first to stick our heads out of the primordial ooze, and they were all too happy to shove us back in. As the human counteroffensive gained momentum, I, in my arrogance, still believed we could turn the tide. After all, we were the Pruan Empire, masters of 1,000 stars. Surely, these upstart primates would eventually break against the full might of our forces. I was a fool. The humans didn't just fight, they innovated at a pace that left us reeling. Every tactic we developed, they countered within days. Every advantage we thought we had, they turned against us. Take, for example, our quantum fold drives. We had always believed them to be our ultimate strategic advantage, allowing us to appear anywhere in a star system instantly. But the humans, they found a way to detect the subtle subspace ripples that preceded our jumps. Suddenly, our greatest asset became a liability. Our ships would emerge from quantum fold only to find swarms of human vessels waiting for them, weapons hot. Or consider our hive-mind combat neural networks, which allowed our forces to act with singular purpose and efficiency. The humans introduced a virus, a simple string of code that should have been harmless to our advanced systems. Instead, it created a cascading feedback loop in the network. I still hear the screams of thousands of my soldiers, their minds trapped in an endlessly repeating moment of terror. But it wasn't just their martial prowess that undid us, it was their ability to win hearts and minds. Everywhere they went, they liberated not just the Trey, but every species we had subjugated over the millennia. They offered them not servitude, but alliance. Planets we had held for centuries rose up against us, guided and armed by human advisors. I remember the day I realized we had lost not just the war, but any claim to legitimacy. It was on the world of Karath, one of our oldest and most loyal territories. We had deployed an entire fleet to crush the human incursion there. Our forces had the advantage in every conceivable way: numbers, firepower, strategic position. Yet, when the final battle came, it was not just human soldiers we faced. It was our former subjects. Karathians, Grawl, even the Trey we had been so eager to conquer, each fought side by side with the humans. They had joined this united Earth Federation, choosing to fight for freedom alongside the very species we had dismissed as primitives. We were overwhelmed. Our fleet was obliterated, our armies crushed. As I watched the final moments of the battle, the Imperial Destiny burning in orbit, I realized the bitter truth: the Pruan Empire was no more. We had sown the seeds of our own destruction with every species we enslaved, and the humans had simply reaped the harvest. And so, I stand before you now, a deposed emperor, my empire in ruins, my people scattered to the cosmic winds. The humans, in their mercy, allowed me to live, though I often wonder if it would have been kinder to end my life and spare me the shame. Let my tale be a warning to all who hear it: do not underestimate the humans. Do not provoke their wrath. For they are not just another species among the stars. They are a force of nature, a tempest that will sweep away all who stand in their path. We, the once great Pruan Empire, were the first to feel their fury. We will not be the last.